Hey guys, and welcome to a more sad video on this channel. We are ahead of the 2020 Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps. The track is one of the driver's favorites and also up there in the favorites of the fans. It is a roller coaster through the Ardennes. It is an amazing track with amazing corners and amazing history. But somehow this year everything at this race is different. It is not only going to be a ghost race in front of no public, but it is going to be a race to remember Anthoine Hubert, who sadly passed away nearly a year ago at exactly that track after a horrible crash in Formula 2. Luckily, it doesn't happen often in Formula 1 and Formula 2, also in motorsports in general, that the driver suffers a fatal crash. But sadly, it happened, and you can't change it. But Anthoine did an amazing career up to that point, where he was tragically killed in a crash no one was to blame for. But how did Anthoine actually become a racing driver? How did this talented, young, smiling guy move up the categories to Formula 2, and what were his highs, his lows, and his achievements on that road? Today we're going to cover that. I'm still a bit tired as I've slept and missed the second free practice even. I definitely need more sleep. But let's do it. Enjoy. Antoine Hubert was born in the French city Lyon on the 22nd September 1996 as one of two sons from Nathalie Gabert and François Hubert. He grew up in a small city in France and moved up the categories of motorsports, not with the speed he had on track, but with showing how talented and passionate he was for racing. In 2019, he stepped up into Formula 2 as a freshly crowned GP3 champion and joined the BWT Arden team. Antoine, or Tonio, how his nickname was, grew up in Chartres, a French city which according to the Frenchman is known for its church with a green roof. He began his karting career in 2004, the year of Michael Schumacher's last Formula 1 championship. But Hubert always looked up to his countryman Alain Prost, who himself also supported Hubert during the time at Renault's Junior Academy. Aged just 3, Anthoine Hubert got a baby card for Christmas from Santa Claus. From that point on, the young Tonio was in love with driving straight away. Together with his father François, little Antoine drove around pylons they've set up at a supermarket parking on Sundays, where the market was closed and the parking empty to get the young Tonio as much practice as possible. At the age of 7, Hubert moved up into karting in 2004. Alongside the current F1 drivers Esteban Ocon, Charles Leclerc, Pierre Gasly and one of his later teammates and friend Dorian Boccolacci, he was very successful in his karting years, with finishing runner-up in the 2010 CIK FIA Karting Academy Trophy, as well as finishing third twice in the U18 version of that trophy in 2011 and 2012. 2013, Hubert switched up into single-seater racing, starting to race in the French Formula 4 series. Although he couldn't achieve the title in karting, he stormed to the first possible single-seater championship with winning the French F4. With a striking performance including 13 podiums in 21 races, with winning 11 times and starting from pole in 10 races, Antoine dominated the category. But sadly, every career has its lows, especially at its beginnings. And so Hubert had to wait until 2015 to climb the top step of the podium again. In 2014, he moved up into the Eurocup Formula Renault 2.0 series for the Tech 1 team, but couldn't achieve a victory in 14 races, just scoring 30 points. Next to the Formula Renault 2.0, Hubert was also participating in 6 races of the Formula Renault 2.0 Alps that year, racing alongside future F2 rivals such as Jack Aitken or Lord Mahiva Raghunathan. A year later, Antoine raced in exactly the same 2 series as in the year before, with scoring 2 victories and 2 pole positions out of 17 races in the Eurocup Formula 2.0 series. Already back then, Hubert was demonstrating that for him it wasn't all about winning every race to win a championship. This way of thinking about the championship is the reason for him getting the nickname The Professor, which was a famous nickname from his hero Alain Prost. Prost always had a view on the championship standings and on what he has to do to achieve the title, and so did Hubert. The 22-year-old was also an all-rounder, according to his Formula 2 team boss. He was not only thinking of himself, but of tiny things, like better food for the mechanics or many things inside of the team. Although scoring 8 podiums in a season completed Hubert's Eurocup Formula Renault 2.0 series in 2015 to a successful one with finishing 5th in the championship standings, it was the Formula Renault 2.0 Alps series where he was outstanding. In just 6 races as a guest starter in the series, Anthoine stood on the podium in every single one of them, winning 4 races, 2 of them on home soil in France, and scoring 4 pole positions. This performance from Anthoine awoke interest from the European Formula 3 team Van Amersfoort Racing. The Dutch team has just had a certain Max Verstappen in their team a few years ago. Also, the grid in the series was incredibly talented in this year with drivers such as Callum Ilott, Guan Yu Zhou, Sergio Sette Camara, all late champion Lance Stroll. In his first season of Formula 3, Hubert ended up being 8th in the Drivers' Championship with winning at the Norris Ring, as well as scoring 2 more podiums that year, featuring one at Spa-Francorchamps, and took another step up the ladder to Formula 1 by joining the French ART-GP team for the 2017 GP3 season. And the ART team dominated that season, with finishing in the first 4 positions of the championship at the end of the season. Current Formula 1 driver George Russell won the season by scoring 4 victories and ending up P1 in the title race by scoring 79 more points than runner-up Jack Aitken. Behind followed Fukuzumi and Hubert, who managed to score 4 podiums in his GP3 rookie season. Anthoine stayed in the series as the only one of the 4 ART drivers. As all of his teammates in 2017, Russell, Fukuzumi and Aitken moved up into Formula 2 for 2018. Also so wanted Hubert after 2018 by having the clear aim to win the GP3 title in 2018 because he, according to himself, had to. And he did win the GP3 title in 2018, with just winning twice in the whole season, but the nickname Professor lived up to its name. Hubert scored not that many wins for a championship win, but stood on the podium in 9 more races, which let him end the season with scoring 214 points in 18 races. In just 7 of them, he didn't manage to score a podium. That title win meant that he was the last GP3 champion in history, as the season was going to be renamed after 2018, and yet he was ready to step up into the last series before Formula 1. Formula 2. Not only he won the championship in today's Formula 3, but got signed by Renault for the Young Driver Academy at the beginning of 2018. That not only brought him to a Formula 1 test in 2019, but also to close contact with his hero Alain Prost, as well as huge support from a big team in motorsport. For 2019, Tonio stepped up from GP3 to Formula 2, together with 2 of his teammates in GP3, Callum Ilott and Nikita Mazepin, such as Giuliano Alesi, Juan Manuel Correa and Dorian Boccolacci. Also, Tatiana Calderon did the same step as Anthoine and became his teammate at the BWT Arden team. Although the Arden team wasn't the seed in Formula 2 to normally be gotten by a reigning GP3 champion, as the car isn't the quickest, Hubert made the best out of the situation and started to show his talents at already his Formula 2 debut at Bahrain, with finishing P4 and showing great moves. Solid results followed, and an 8th place in the feature race at Monaco meant that Hubert was going to start on pole position at the home race of his girlfriend Julie Lajoux. He dominated the race and in the end defended his lead ahead of Louis Delatraz until the very end of the race. Even more, joy followed 2 races after, as he stood on pole position once more for a sprint race. This time for his home race at Le Castellet. In front of a sea full of waving French flags, he claimed his 2nd Formula 2 win, and by the happiness in his face, it became clear how much this win meant to him and how proud he was to be a Frenchman. He won ahead of Juan Manuel Correa. who tragically went into the pink car of Anthoine at the top of Spa's Radion on the day of Anthoine's death. Hubert hasn't scored points in the following 5 races after the win in France at the Belgian Grand Prix became a nightmare, as the talented driver's heart stopped beating at 18:35. All after a crash which nobody was to blame for. Anthoine was tragically killed because of the unluckiest situations taking place at the same time. Hubert was a very loved guy in the Formula 2 paddock, but also for drivers in other categories in the sport. He made his family very proud with the results he achieved, having his brother Victor as one of his biggest fans, as well as continuing the steps of his father François, who was a racing driver as well. Everyone liked the young French guy with the iconic glasses and knew that he was a very talented driver. Current Renault driver Esteban Ocon stated that Hubert was his biggest rival in karting days. But especially the friendship between Pierre Gasly and Tonio was an extraordinary one. And so the Frenchman will be remembered by everyone as a driver full of passion, smiles and talent, who was loved by everyone. The number of tributes and lovely words on track or on several social media platforms just showed how tight and loving the Formula One community is. Also, this year's pictures of Juan Manuel Correa and Pierre Gasly laying down flowers at the place where Hubert touched the barrier first during his fatal crash were very lovely and touching. Correa's aim is still to rejoin racing after the crash from Spa and to race for Anthoine to make him proud even more, as he surely just is at the moment after impressive recovery of the American. Gasly honored his friend with a special helmet as well, which featured multiple photos of Anthoine and is covered in the color of Hubert's lost helmet and to the racing number he used in his career. The cars on the grids of the Formula series were also having a Racing for Anthoine sticker on it. Anthoine Hubert will never be forgotten. He was an incredible human, a racer, a loved personality in the paddock. His way up to Formula 2 was exceptional and very inspiring, as well as bringing up amazing moments and achievements. Sadly, it is often the good humans who are taken away from Earth way too soon, but they are always remembered of how they are and honored in a brilliant way. A comment on social media just said the right thing to summarize the loss. Anthoine isn't dead. He's just racing up there a lap ahead in heaven with Jules Bianchi and Ayrton Senna. A French smileman who joined heaven and will help the sun to continue shining for sure. He's a legend and a true racer.